Design mock-up units, also called dummy units or pre-proto devices, while not having any physical hardware inside of them, are some of the most interesting prototypes that come around. Often being radically different from production designs, pay homage to what could have been. Hello everyone, Apple Demo here, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at a stage of prototype that we haven't taken a look at before. And not only are we going to be taking a look at one of these prototypes, but we're going to be taking a look at 4 of them. Today, we're going to be taking a look at 4 engineering mock-up Apple Watch prototypes. Now, because these Apple Watches are of different models, 2 of which being the original Apple Watch, and the other 2 being of the Series 5, the best way to fully capture the mystique behind these prototypes is to go through them individually, starting with the fully black and plastic original Apple Watch. At a glance, it just looks like a rectangular piece of plastic. However, this specific engineering mock-up unit was used to help develop the Apple Watch bands, having the cutouts for the Apple Watch bands, but not looking like an Apple Watch. Now you may be wondering, why didn't Apple just use models of the actual Apple Watch when developing the bands? Well, when Apple makes new products, they often create multiple design teams for different parts of the device. And especially because the Apple Watch wasn't even released at the time, it was decided that the Apple Watch band team would just receive these little plastic units to help develop the Apple Watch bands. Definitely not pretty, not sleek, but just enough. Moving on to the stainless steel original Apple Watch housing, this design is certainly more recognizable. However, it harbors a few differences. But before we get to those, let's analyze the text on the outside of it. The first piece of information we have is G05, standing for the specific configuration number that this Apple Watch is. Due to the fact that there were likely many different internal designs of the Apple Watch, it would have been crucial to internally label which design is which. The next piece of information that we can see is the serial number. As it turns out, after doing research, this Apple Watch was made on week 8 of 2014, which even predates the iPhone 6. Which basically means when the design of the iPhone 5/5S was still the current one, Apple was designing the Apple Watch, which if you ask me, I think that's pretty cool. On the inside of the housing, there's yet another serial number, but this one is more specific in terms of the actual tooling of the housing itself. And taking a look at the side, we can see the text JH1A Golden 01. Now you may be thinking to yourself, I've seen the text JH before. Well, that's because it was also on the band testing unit. While I don't actually know what the JH abbreviation stands for, I can make an educated guess as to say that it likely relates to the mock-up unit stage. However, if any of you know what it is or have a theory as to what it is, leave it in the comments and let me know. Aside from the engravings, this housing does have a few hardware differences from production models. Just to name a few, the cutout for where the diagnostic port on the Apple Watch would normally be is missing. And going back to the side, we can see that the speaker and microphone holes aren't there. But now finally, after taking a look at the original Apple Watch mock-up units, let's take a look at the Series 5 ones. I'll be talking about both of these units at the same time because they're both of the Series 5 and they both are roughly the same, but they're just the 40 and 44mm variants. The most glaring thing about these units is that they have a metal screen, obviously a placeholder for what would be the OLED in glass. Upon flipping the units over, we can also see that, similar to the other ones, there's nothing electronic inside. But on the placeholder metal screen, we can see that there is again text. And once again, we can see that there's the JH abbreviation, which is present on both, albeit a little bit harder to see on the 40mm model. But in terms of these mock-up units, I'm not 100% certain in terms of where they came from or what they were used for, but the FCM could potentially stand for Food Contact Materials, which is a European Union law which basically dictates that materials that might come in contact with food need to be safe. Now, while obviously you're not going to be eating your Apple Watch or using it to cut your food, it could potentially come in contact because it's going to be on your wrist all the time. But of course, like I said before, that may or may not be what the abbreviation stands for. Also, if we take a look at the inside of the band housing, we can see that it says model, but then nothing after it. And there also seems to be some kind of engraved lines going down from the diagnostic port and horizontally in the middle. Now, while mockup units don't have electronic hardware inside of them, they are definitely one of the most important stages of prototypes. These designs were never released and could have been lost to history. And it's truly amazing to see the blood, sweat, and tears that Apple engineers put into these devices, because actual people put months or even years into these devices and made mistakes, fixed those mistakes, which eventually led to the finished product. And I'm just glad that I get to preserve these pieces of history. Thank you for watching my video, and I really hope you enjoyed this one. This of course wasn't really a hardware or software video because these are mock-up units, but I hope you enjoyed looking at them. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and even consider sharing it, as it really helps motivate me to continue to make more content just like this. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one.